Wait, what time do you guys have practice at?
7:30.
It's going to talk about doctors.
The diseases we dealt with were leprosy, bubonic plague,
Whoa.
Wow.
measles, and tuberculosis. Those are the big ones.
Wow, those
How
are
do
big
you
ones.
avoid leprosy?
Leprosy, there was
How did you
a
avoid
lot.
all of them?
Andrew has malaria.
Yeah, but I had that from a little tiny person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I used to itch a lot and was constantly checking. You get white patches if you contract
For leprosy.
leprosy, but it's very hard.
Black for bubonic plague.
It's very hard to catch. You have to be in close contact with. But I would have to carry people and put them in my airplane, so there was a fair amount of physical contact, and it worried the heck out of me. But I didn't catch it.
So if you covered up and had gloves and all this stuff on,
No,
Oh,
we,
they didn't have gloves.
You just
I didn't even have
bareback
earphones. That's why I'm as deaf as a post. We were so clueless about that stuff.
Did you? So you're saying you flew without earphones and stuff too?
Oh,
Absolutely, yeah. We were.
He's
My
definitely
generation is
one, yeah.
clueless about this stuff. All the safety stuff is no. Back then, nah.
it's one of those changes we've seen.
So and being young and foolish.
And
And then he would be
Yes.
landing in these on these high mountain strips, and sometimes have to hack them out to have enough space to take off. And
It was great. I
extremely
was 19,
dangerous
and
flying.
it was incredibly dangerous. It was perfect. It was perfect.
I worked for Cordova Air for many years here.
Yeah, pretty boring working for Cordova Air compared to. I mean, maybe not, but compared to
It was very exciting. It
loading
really was.
people.
You asked me what made me want to fly?
Because
That's a warning thing about when I was 7-ish, a neighbor who had a Piper Pacer took me for a ride.
Wow.
I was stuffed in the back,
beginning of
and that thing rose off the ground, and I looked out the window, and it was like St. Paul having an epiphany on the road to Damascus. I had an epiphany right then and there. Wow, this is for me. And it never changed. So I was immensely blessed, I think, because most young people spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives. I never had to spend a second on it.
Huh.
It was
You
obvious.
never wavered from that.
No.
Right from the beginning.
Drove my parents mad. Always the same answer to the question, what do you want to do when you grow up? And they thought that was a bad idea.
Even when you
tell 'em.
became successful and all that stuff, then did they still think it was a bad idea?
Yeah, pretty.
Even when you were flying the king around?
Like they were just,
Tell him about, this is one of my favorite stories. Tell him you were, I think on this one you were teaching flying, and you were flying around the country when you fell through the floor in the hotel.
what?
Oh,
Tell this story. I just love this story.
I flew in Namibia a lot. It was called Southwest Africa then, but it's now Namibia. And one of the features of small Namibian towns is they have the world's worst hotels. These places are beyond bad. Bed bugs. But bed bugs was the least of this particular hotel. I got up one morning and I was brushing my teeth very vigorously, and the floor collapsed under me. And I dropped into the crawl space under the hotel. But as I went, I hit my elbow on the sink and jammed my toothbrush up my nose,
Oh!
which really smarts.
Oh, yeah.
So it was dark and dusty down there. Fortunately, I didn't go down astride any beams or anything, so I scrambled out and I wandered off to the reception where there was a young lady at the desk,
Hi,
and I was bleeding quite briskly, and I still had my toothbrush clutched in my hand. I was in my jammies. I said, I think I ought to tell you, I just fell through the floor back there in room such and such. Oh yes, she said, the floors are pretty bad back there, and went on with what she was doing.
And what?
Went on with what she was doing. That was it. That was it.
That was
Oh yeah. Must have been the
Bottom
first time
of
it
the-
happened.
just a Day in the life. Wow.
So, yeah,
Did you become a citizen of America?
I did. I went to Anchorage with Carmen, and we went through a great big naturalization ceremony. There were probably 150 people. Philippines, from everywhere. And then at the end of it, the Daughters of the American Revolution gave us a tea. It was,
Lovely.
Oh, nice.
so that was that.
So what happened to you said your dad owned a coffee plantation, I think you mentioned?
Yes.
Or just that, land, whatever happened to that? Because I understand the house on the coast, it was leased, so that makes sense that you guys didn't own that, but what about the other land you owned?
My father sold it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though since your passport was revoked, I wouldn't think that you would have any right to own it anyways.
I couldn't go
Could
back.
you?
No, I can go back
His
as a
dad
tourist.
still had a passport.
I know, but even
Yeah.
if, say, his dad or somehow you wanted to
In
get
this
the land, I
country,
don't know if you would be able
And
to.
recently it's been under discussion because President Trump has announced his intention of doing away with the 14th Amendment, which guarantees citizenship to native-born people. Not all countries have that, and Kenya doesn't. And so I have no right of return. I'm a bit like a Palestinian, no right of return to what is now Israel. So that 14th Amendment is a big deal. Because I think if you're born in a country, you should have automatic citizenship.
Yeah.
Because in my case, I was able to cope with going away, but lots of people aren't. If you're born and grown up somewhere and suddenly you're expelled.
And your whole family
Yes.
is there and citizens.
And
you just
you're
have to
just
just
the
leave.
one that's out.
Right. So, yeah, the 14th Amendment I feel quite strongly about. And
Yeah. It's happening.
what's that?
No, nothing.
Are you in disagreement or agreement?
Let's just pause this.